John Davis, absolutely one of the best.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis doing what true crimers do.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis.
John Davis True Crime.
Mr. John Davis.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True Crime.
This guy John Davis.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True Crime. Maybe that's where I've heard that name before.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis, and it's good to see you, John. How are you?
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True.
Hey, John Davis.
John Davis.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True Crime kicks butt.
Tune in and watch John Davis True Crime. You will love it. It's one of the best channels on YouTube. Tune in. It's John Davis True Crime.
Good morning. Happy May 6th, 2024. Man, May is off to a banging start. Seems like just the other day it was May 1st. We're already up to the 6th, flying by. How was everybody's weekend? Too short. Too short. I made 2 videos over the weekend. Made a video yesterday. I made a video and just summed up Sebastian so far. I thought those were some of the major points to this point. Still no word, as far as I know, as to the pick. Y'all heard anything? I tell you what, Seth's behind the pick. It seems like Seth, last I seen, Seth was pretty much all in on the pick. See, that makes me, I think that affects my decision. It's got to affect your decision a little bit when the dad really thinks it's him. Makes me think. I don't know. I did hear he said he went down, they wouldn't show him the footage. What else did we hear? Oh, Tony Mathis. Did y'all see that? I hope I got that right. Tony Mathis, is that right? Oh, I'm sure somebody will let me know. But Seth's PR guy, he did a thing with Justin on TikTok on YouTube. All the Justins get me confused, but it wasn't super long. I watched it from start to finish, and I tell you what, people, he kind of acts like people giving him a lot of hate. I don't know what's going on in your life that you want to give a bunch of hate to the PR dude of the parent of a missing kid. It's just, it seems like wasted energy to me, honestly. You know, this guy, and apparently, and I believe him, he seems like a straight up enough dude to me. He ain't making a penny off none of this. So maybe that's why people are suspicious. You know, not a whole lot of people would do, because this guy's doing a lot too, man. He manages like the same thing for Caleb Harris's case, his dad. So he's kind of doing this for both families, and apparently and on his own dime. He's acting like, you know, when he's doing this traveling stuff, he's paying for that out of pocket. So just apparently a really good dude, you know. Doesn't really have a background that you would look at and think there's somebody that's going to be managing missing kids' parents' media and stuff. But he seems to do a bang up job. I tell you, I think he does really good at commanding the focus, and he don't speculate on shit. And I think that it's really good the way he handles himself really well. I'm telling you, the guy to me he almost seems polished. It's really shocking that he doesn't have some kind of something in his background. If you hear him speak, he speaks well. He seems polished. I'm telling you, it's really shocking to hear his background and stuff. And people just, it's disheartening if you're in something like that and there's a ton of people, because there's a few in each group and they're there. Well, you'll have 100 messages. Great job, Tony. You're doing good. Then you'll have one. So what's in it for you, Tony? I'm just like, y'all just bring down the vibe in here, man. Some people got to ruin it for everybody. They were in the chat too, though. They weren't that bad, because there was a lot of people in that chat. I love comments. I am a big reader of comments. I like knowing what other people think. I think it's a good way to help judge thinking. You know what I'm saying? I like to see what other people think before I speak on stuff. That way I know how much hate I'm going to catch, as opposed to what the group seems to think. But I tell you, this Tony Mathis dude seems to be a pretty solid guy, as far as we can tell. The thing that's interesting, I find, though, is he did bring up, and I don't want to quote him on this because I can't remember it word for word, but he did say the people, like, none of the people helping Seth are getting paid. And I got the idea that might also be in, I can't remember if he named the PIs or not. He made a comment like that, though. But it makes me think everybody was doing it pro bono. And I think that's what may have led up to one of the PIs stepping down. Because that did happen. They put out a statement. I got their statement and go over with you real quick. Justice warriors. That's what she calls her peeps, I guess. Good morning, and thank you for all your kindness. Many of you have noticed how quiet we have been for the last few days, which I know must have been a shock, considering that we had previously been shouting from the mountaintops, so to speak, about the disappearance of #Sebastian Rogers. I apologize for my vague answers and sometimes lack of an answer to all your messages. You have all been so supportive, and you do not deserve to be ghosted. So I'm going to put this here, and I'll pray that y'all can get behind the new direction of the case. So apparently she's been ghosting people for a few days. As you already know, Tracy and I came into this case on April 15th. My style of investigating is an in-your-face tactic that is meant to draw people out and get to the bottom of what is going on. We walked into a blank storm that had been brewing for some time, and things got really out of hand. Aside from the public outburst on web sleuths, the public did not know what had occurred behind the scenes. What the public saw was anything to do with Sebastian is the on the storm, and that person is Tony Mathis. Now, I did successfully open a line of communication between myself and the Proudfoots, and I was trying my very best to diffuse the situation. However, I was unable to do so, and therefore someone else needed to step in. I wish him the very best, and I agree that although transparency with transparency with the public is necessary to some degree. In this case, there are things that are better kept close to the vest. I feel like she's dropping us little clues in this, you know. I feel like she's giving us hints. I wish him the very best. I agree with that. Although transparency with the public is necessary to some degree, in this case, there are things that are better kept close to the vest. I'm thinking something has gotten out, and she thinks whatever this is might be important. Just a feeling, because you know this. She's got an idea. I don't know, you know, no matter what you want to believe, she'd probably never tell you, but I bet you she has an idea of what she thinks happened. I'm going to comment on one thing regarding Katie. I don't know what happened on February 26, 2024, the day that Sebastian seemingly vanished into thin air. However, I've seen some things said about her past that breaks my heart. She's being chastised over something that she had no control over. Unfortunately, we don't get to choose our parents. Please try to give some empathy, at least pertaining to that aspect of all this. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I think she's referring to like some of the stuff coming out about Katie's family and stuff like that. That you know, she thinks Katie's a victim in that. You know, she shouldn't be judged by the sins of your father, as they say. Have seen or heard many asking if I'm still working for Seth. With recent developments and with Mr. Mathis taking over, I am stepping back. Justice Warrior investigation services are always available to him if and when he needs us. But to answer your question, we are no longer under a retainer. We do believe that the photo at Grandfather Mountain is Sebastian, and until we know one way or another, there isn't much we can do. If it is Sebastian, this would become a federal case, and we would be thrilled for the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, to take the lead. This would be the best development, yet as a private investigator, we can do a lot to help the case along, but we do not have the ability to get warrants, and that is what is needed to gather the evidence necessary to find Sebastian. Interesting. Super interesting, is it not? We will continue to follow the case closely and share updates as they are released to the public. We love Sebastian. We will continue to pray for his safe return. Respectfully, Heather. Sebastian Strong, Sebastian's Army. So that was Heather. What she said there? If it is Sebastian, this would become a federal case, and we would be thrilled for the FBI. We do believe that the photo at Grandfather Mountain is Sebastian. We do believe that the photo at Grandfather Mountain is Sebastian, and until we know one way or another, there isn't much we can do. If it is Sebastian, this would become a federal case, and would be thrilled for the FBI to take the lead. So I'd love to know why they believe that photo so much. What do y'all think about all that? Any thoughts on any of that? What are y'all saying? Well, then I guess the stuff about mommy is true. Well, I thought it was all BS. As soon as the case crossed state lines, it became FBI investigation. Yeah, but if that has to be, that site has to be verified before it's crossed state lines. That's what we need, though, I think, the FBI. I tell you, though, when she talks about gathering evidence, I'd love to know what she means by that. many clues in that statement. I think there's many clues as to what she thinks. I really do. Them ghosts, and that's wild. Anyway, she seemed to be, well, you know, she says no longer under retainer. Now, does that mean, I thought a retainer was like money for them to take on your case and stuff. So does that mean they were paid if she's saying she's no longer under a retainer? Not that I care either which way. I'm just saying people talk and people ask. To be honest, it doesn't matter to me. You know, it's great that they have investigators to look at Sebastian's case. I am always in all these cases wondering why there's not more private investigators on them. If I'm the parent, that's what I'm going after. Private investigators. You bet your ass. Because when you're a parent, you love your kid, and you really want your kid back. Having a private investigator is basically like having you a cop. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like having you a cop, except they're not patrolling doing bullshit. They're doing stuff to help find your child. It's not quite as good. And I know a lot of police don't like to work with private investigators, but private investigators, I would love to have one. If that would be to be paying a private investigator to be on this. And I want a bulldog too, man. I want somebody to come in here and piss everybody off. I want Philip Klein. That's who I'd love to see on some of this stuff. He would not hold back on telling what he thought. If you now, I don't know how great he'd be for a case against somebody because of that, but I tell you what, if you wanted somebody to come in here, look things over, and tell you what they thought, an honest opinion, that dude would do it. I think he's dodged quite a few libel suits because he ain't scared to say publicly what he thinks. But you know, that is a sad thing too, though, if you think about it. That the lawyers or the PI is not on his case anymore. More the merrier, the way I see it. You never know who could hit pay dirt, what angle. You know, you need more searching, you need more all that. Get Dog the Bounty Hunter. See, the thing about that is, though, the bounty hunter stuff's kind of a different thing. You know, he has somebody that has criminal ties, and he's got stuff like that he can check. I'd give him a shot, though. I don't know, man. Old Dog got to be getting up there now. I maybe get Leland on it. Leland, you busy? What's Dog doing? Bingo? Yeah, I thought. Nah, I like Dog. He's good doing well. He really seems like I tell you what, either he's really religious or he sticks to it from what we see. You know, that's one that might be a real one. Dog. I tell you what, man, I don't know. Over the weekend, to me, the biggest news, I guess, would be what? Tony Mathis. Now, I did make a video yesterday about what I seen, but I seen it on Bed Crime Stories, and I was willing to take their word for it. But everybody's telling me a lot of this came out on Crime Lines and Lies. So, to whoever, thank you for the information. But it was wild. The stuff they're saying down, they say this neighbor's alleged, but they were saying about old Proudfoot. wild stuff. But I hate information that doesn't have a face to it. I really do, man. You know, I'm so skeptical of anything third party, unidentifiable. The Cold Case Foundation works for free, but family has to ask for help. You know, where you from? That's a good point. I'm sure Seth's heard of them, though. I would assume. I tell you, if he hasn't, though, if anybody's in any of the chats when you see Seth or Tony Mathis around, that would be a good thing to bring up. Have you considered asking the Cold Case Foundation? But Cold Case Foundation might, it's not 60 some days. I don't know. I'm digging your thumbnails lately. Thank you, Curse with Curiosity. They're fairly creative. I don't know that they help me, but I don't think they help people come to my videos, but I think they help some people get a chuckle. Can they do it while it's active? I've always wondered that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. In this case, they could maybe, I could see though, they'd have resources. Maybe they could, add, you know, I'm sure, but I don't know how law enforcement would feel about it. I don't know. It's a good question, though. I would think there would be some kind of resources they could probably help with. Remember Nina's interview about her former husband's emotional, verbal, and physical abuse? I believe she was spot on after seeing Chris Proudmouth's behavior on panels. You know, he doesn't try to hide it. He really don't. And it's really hurting. You know, he doesn't represent himself in a way that's going to go over with the mainstream. And it's amazing. This dude has managed to make a lot of people dislike him by just being him, apparently. Chris M tried to get the Wells to agree, but they never did. That's the way I understand it, yes. Now, they're going to say it's because of Chris M, but I think if you're innocent, this is my firm believing on it. If you're innocent, you take every bit of help you can get. You wouldn't dispel somebody because you didn't like them. That's the only way I can see that. If you're innocent, you want your child back, you take any help you can get. You don't let any ego get in the way. Stubbornness. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You got to suck it up. You know, there's people I don't like. Oh, trust me. If I told you how I felt about some people that you probably do like, you would be shocked and never watch me again. That's why I keep that to myself. But, yeah. I just wonder if law enforcement was wanting to work with them so good that at least in Monkey's case they are. See, that is one thing I hope Tony Mathis doesn't hinder, is a relationship, and I don't think he's going to, but I hope he helps the relationship between Seth and the police and all that. I think it's so much better when the family's united. And I really, to me, to be honest, it's human nature to me. I don't think it's on purpose or what it is, but if you got a parent that you like and you can tell they're hurting and you want to do the best for them, you're going to work harder. If you got a parent that's saying the cops ain't telling me nothing. I'm tired of this. I'm getting blah, blah, blah. You're not going to work as hard. It's just, don't hate the messenger. Do y'all not agree with that? I'm still working on my setup. I don't know if I like to chill. Do I like that? What about over here? No, that's no good. Wouldn't y'all agree with that though? I really think, if it's me now, I'm just giving you my opinion. If it's me, I'm doing I'd even be willing to kiss some butt to police to stay on that inner circle, good loop of knowing what's going on. Personally, I worry about the photo that was posted on Facebook now going so public, if that is detrimental. I've thought about that. The thing is, say it is him. Say, well, let's bring it up. I think I still got it. Say it is. Oh, I did some comparisons. Let me show you them to y'all real quick. And they, you know, I'm no professional. I was just messing around, and I thought I'd do it to see what I thought. You know what I'm saying? I just tried to put a couple of things side by side to look at. I'm telling you, I've kind of lost some sleep over this photo thing. Knowing Seth is saying he believes that's him is affecting my belief, I believe. Because I almost feel like if his dad thinks it's him, how am I to think it's not? You know? I think it affects me. I did that one. I did two of them, and these ain't great. These are just me. I'm no computer wizard. Okay, it's just something I did to look and see what I thought. Now see the real blurry one, that was video, and what I tried to catch the head in the same position, and that's about as close as I could to get an idea. I agree with you, John. When you want any and all help you could get, especially if they are an organization that has professionals involved and a lot of resources. Absolutely, Jen Sparky, 1,000,000%. I would want that. If I'm not guilty, there is no way I turn it down. No way. If I ain't worried about the end of that investigation coming out to where I'm going to jail, I don't know any other reason you wouldn't. Tony Mathis stated that if the father believes that's him, then he trusts the father. My only thing is, you know, now Seth wants it to be him more than anybody on the planet. Is that affecting it at all? I don't know. You know, somebody, where's the other one at? Tell me I still got it. Yeah. Now that picture, somebody was telling me that the way he has his arm is kind of a way that somebody with autism might carry their arm. There's a name for that. My opinion, if his dad thinks it's him, I think it's him until authorities say it isn't. Well, you know, I'm going to have my own opinion. That's just human nature to me. I don't know. I tell you, here's what I will say. To me, if that is him, I'm going to say there's people involved that he knows, because he looks way too comfortable out in public to have been taken by some complete stranger or something like that. And you know, at the point this picture was taken, he'd been missing for a long time. Would he be that stable, you reckon, without his medicine? I don't know. Said it from the start. Anytime a child goes missing, you should start out investigating. That's a crime from the jump. Apology later. Waste too much precious time. Yeah. I was saying that. I'm a big believer in that also. I think there should be like the Summer Sebastian law, where anytime a child's reported missing, it's immediately treated as a crime and crime scene and all that. Devices are immediately taken. People are split up, you know. I think it should become a law. I really do. They cleared the glasses and pants within 48 hours, but haven't said a word about the photo at the rest stop. Speaks volumes, in my opinion. Well, you know, they had the pants, right? And the pants were the wrong side. So it takes no time at all to clear them. The glasses, I think, you know, they were just double checking. This, they're investigating. I mean, it's just going to take longer to investigate. Because think about it. They go there, they get the film, they see what we're looking at right here. Okay. Hopefully from that, they maybe glean a license plate. If not, then I don't know how they want to track these people down. I guess if you can't get a license plate there, now this is a rest stop. You start checking the gas stations near there. You know, who knows? It's not going to be exactly easy unless somehow they got a plate number of whatever vehicle he was in leaving. You know? Now, I'm kind of shocked, or I will be kind of shocked if they get that and don't. That I would think that'd be something. Then they go public with the vehicle ASAP if they believe it's him and stuff. And they can't get a plate number, then they give us a description. Have you seen this car? But a lot of people keep tying that woman in, man. And I really think that woman, in nothing about that picture makes you think that that woman isn't just walking in that direction and he's back there. I don't see any reason to think that they're even together, honestly. Now, Seth says there is cameras. They just wouldn't show him the footage. So there is footage. If Sebastian wears a chest plate, you can see it in this photo. A lot of people have said that about this right here. They don't mention as missing a chest plate. Now, would they necessarily? I don't know. I've never heard it mentioned from the parents. I'm not even, to be honest, sure what a chest plate is. The cameras could pick up every license plate in the parking lot. Well, we'd like to think that, but you know, that really depends on the placement of the cameras and, you know, how the vehicles enter the parking lot and the quality of the cameras. It's the thing about it is, though, it's one to protect the heart and lungs. I've never heard of that. We're not going to find out. Apparently, they're taking it very seriously. I'm thinking right now it's being investigated, because I feel like if they knew it wasn't, it would have been told. I really do. I'm just hoping that it leads to something, and it ain't a thing of where we never find out what the deal with it was, you know. It is used for pigeon chest. He does wear one. Do they mention, is it ever been mentioned if he had that? The lady in the picture looks super stressed out or in deep contemplation. I can't glean all that. I'll take your word for it. I'm half blind. All I can see is it looks like her mouth's a little bit open. I can't believe it. The bathroom's closed. I'm going back to the car. Oh. Yeah. I think Sebastian's face, to me, looks wider than the picture. I think that person's face looks extremely thin, slender to me, like the shape. That's just me. You know, we could argue this all day long. I think his look at what a nice jawline he's got, man. To me, his face looks wider than the one in the shot, and the hair's darker too. But we know he's been missing a long time. The hair color can change. I think it's the angle. Maybe it is. Just looks awful thin to me, the face. I looked a lot too about the glasses. Where was it? I don't know if I even have a picture of it, but I was looking at the glasses. Somebody was saying, like, in this picture, it kind of looks like they're hinged there. I was looking at how they fit. But this picture, it's horrible. Like I said, I tried to still shot to catch his head at the same angle. You could drive yourself crazy, though, doing the comparison, I think, you know? I found it interesting, though, that apparently Chris and Katie still ain't quite on board with this Tony Mathis. Now, I don't understand why, honestly, because good or bad or indifferent, it seems like to me, by watching him and everything the guys put out so far, they would have the feeling that he ain't going to create BS. He's not going to put out stuff about them and bash them and stuff. He's trying to stop that. Looks like to me they'd be willing to work with him. And I'd like to hear their reasoning behind why they're not actually on board with this dude. Do y'all get that? Because as of and I think I'm pretty confident this video I seen was last night, and it was Tony Mathis. They still ain't, agreed to this, letting him be the spokesperson. I tell you, from everything that's been out and what we've heard, people are going to view this, and I'm not saying I am, I know how people are. People are going to view this as Chris wanting to control the narrative of what's going out and not letting somebody else speak for him. Because we know Chris loves making himself look worse and worse. This is an area where I think it would only be beneficial for him. So the fact that he ain't doing it, to me, is almost like a character flaw. It's like he's hurting himself by not doing it, I think. And I really don't see how it could hurt him. You know, this seems like a no-brainer to most people. I hope people are still looking for Sebastian. I hope a lot of people don't get turned off by that picture thinking he's found. You know, they're on it. I hope everybody is still looking just as diligently as ever. Because regardless, you know, what Seth thinks, what I think, what anybody thinks, until we know, we don't know, you know, and I hope everybody's still looking for him. I tell you, I think I would have a different feel in this case if it wasn't. I think what kind of helped shape my narrative or my opinion was the landfill search. I still go back to that. I still think at some point, they had some reasoning to suspect something happened to him that he would have ended up in the landfill. And I find it very unlikely it was something as simple as they thought he went and fell asleep in a trash can. You know, I think at some point there was something that made them suspicious. Now, maybe it turned out to be nothing, and that's the reason we're on the path we are. Who knows? But you'll never convince me that they didn't know more about that before they did that. How many days were those searchers? I can't remember. I don't remember either, but I mean, it's such an undertaking to do that. Even if they were just there for a day, that still tells me that wasn't on them just when they did that. It's not like protocol. And I really feel like the way this thing unfolded, that any forensics, and I do not feel like there was much done in the way of forensics. I could be wrong, you know, I could be wrong. But I mean, we heard of stuff being removed from the Wells house. Have y'all ever heard of things that were removed from here? I haven't. That landfill was early on, and then they debunked the flashlight video. I feel there's more to that. I feel like the flashlight video is weird. It's weird that if it is debunked and all that, why that was one thing out of a million they decided to comment on. You know? That's the thing that gets me so much about the Summer Wells case is all this shit that's said, and law enforcement never squashes one rumor. I thought it was weird that law enforcement went out of its way to kind of blow up the video and say, you know, it was the trash trucks. To me, I can watch that over and over, and the trash truck thing just don't make sense to me. Not by the movements and none of that. It doesn't make any sense. Flashlight video is only 15% of the actual video. Sketchy. I would love to see more of that. Now, that ain't one of them things I'm going to say, now when we go back, I'm going to tell you this is what it's going to have been. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the flashlight video, any movement out at 3-something in the morning is odd, but to be told that's the trash truck, what I watched doesn't line up with that. Just the part I seen doesn't make a lot of sense. A landfill search is a last resort unless they have a strong belief in something. I don't know that it's a last resort. You know, I think it's something that you have to have some kind of evidence before you do, for sure. You know, and yeah, it's not something that they undertake easily at all. It's really weird that they made it out to be that made it out to be like that. I'm trying to read comments and talk at the same time. It's getting the better of me. I heard this morning that a neighbor has on camera that Sebastian's light turned on for a moment at 11:45 that night. I heard this morning that a neighbor has on camera. $11:45. Interesting. I don't know. I made the video talking about the stuff that the neighbors were saying about the Proudfoots, and then the more I think about it, I feel like I'm adding to the problem. But if it's my thing is though, anytime you get a big bunch of this information, and it's why I struggle with it so much with a lot of these cases. I'm so suspicious of people that come out after the fact, after the matter, and tell really wild stuff. I'm always just suspicious of it because you can say anything anonymously. When your name and your face ain't out there, you can say whatever you want. Anybody that likes attention can say anything they want anonymously. I'm just so tainted by information that you don't have a face to it, and you're not being held accountable for what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to put it exactly. That's why I really try not to say anything that I don't believe is the truth, because you get called out on it. But when you're doing shit anonymously, there's no repercussion to saying whatever you want. Like the whole spraying Sebastian thing, that's went from pressure washer to water hose. So sketchy on the details. And the one thing they do mention that I thought was so weird is something about how a neighbor had overheard Sebastian talking about what kind of food he likes. And then Chris saying, well, that's what our words like. And I'm like, that seems like such an odd thing for a neighbor to have heard, or you know what I'm saying? It just seems so unlikely. Some of the neighbors' comments seem to be from what they had heard. Why do the neighbors always speak out after? Yes. And I think a lot of me don't want to believe it either, And I tell you, if anything, at this point, the way it's shaped out, because I'm always the simplest explanation is usually your answer. Yeah, it could be all kinds of wild stuff, but I'm always what makes the most sense. Would y'all care to hear my theory up to now? If I had to give you a theory on what happened as of today, would y'all be interested? I think you got him on film all day Sunday, so we know what happened Sunday. I think they got home. I think something happened. I don't know what. Something happened to upset that caused a situation. I think an accident then occurred. but I almost feel like that this was steered in this direction. I feel like Chris hadn't been home in 3 weeks. I feel like there's a reason for that. You know, he talks about Sebastian had told CPS that, you know, he had told him stuff trying to get Chris gone. There's obviously, to me, tension between Chris and Sebastian. I think Katie didn't want to lose Chris over that. I think Chris wasn't coming home as long as maybe Sebastian was there. I think all this could have led to somebody acting out like in the heat of the moment, from the stress all this was causing, something happened. Then maybe she called to get advice on what to do, how to handle it. And I think I really think that's the easiest explanation. That's just my theory. That's just my opinion. But I really feel like that. I don't feel like this was no planned, all these people involved thing, you know? And who knows? Who knows that possibly she didn't do this solo and more or less used him as an alibi. You know, as long as she's saying he's in Memphis, okay, or he's wherever he's supposed to be, 3.5 hours away, right? I don't remember the exact location, so scratch Memphis. I don't know why I went there. But anyway, she's saying he's 3.5 hours away. She's saying that. She's suspect number one. I don't know that he wasn't. You know, a lot of people keep wanting to put him in on this. I think it could. I think she's got to be your number one. I mean, if she's not, you're never going to explain to me how she isn't. You know, I really feel like that. I really feel like that's why there's no shoes missing. Because this wasn't thought out that, hey, they're going to wonder how he ran away with no shoes. I don't think that much planning was put into it. The marriage was or is falling apart. Katie chose her spouse over Sebastian, in my opinion. It happens. I don't know that it's happened in this case, but it does happen. Don't act like it doesn't. It happens. There's many cases of this. You know? It's a fact that the family court wanted to talk to Sebastian in CP custody case. That is the reason why Sebastian is gone. That's a theory, yeah. I'd really like to know if there's a technical evidence. It was not unusual that CP and KP always talk for hours on the phone. I would love to know if there's evidence that backs that up or not. That was asked to him on some, what was I watching? He was on it though. They asked him about that. He says it was. He said that wasn't out of the sort, that did happen. You know? In my opinion, oops. Said that shit like that was the fact, Tina. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it ain't. Like I said, you know I won't shit on anybody's opinion until we know what happened. My theory, though, is I just don't feel like this is this big planned thing. I really don't. But I tell you, from the results, I could be wrong because it seems to be stumping everybody, don't it? Both Katie and Sebastian had a really busy day. Can you imagine talking on the phone while studying for 3 entire hours with anyone at all after all that? Yeah, that's a good point. They were all over the place. It is kind of wild that even after all that, that she even studied for that long, way into the night. And that day started early the next morning too. You know? The thing, you know, somebody said the neighbor allegedly reported that Katie was gone for about 10 minutes. All right. Now, for my theory to work, that's kind of got to be the time that she did something with him. If there's nothing else on none of these cameras. That's the thing. As far as we know, there's nothing from the cameras. That's the biggest head scratcher of all, is how there's nothing. So apparently when they say nothing, it's not her leaving either. That tells me he had to have left with her. How else could he have left? There's no action on the cameras. But we know there's action. The trash people, at least, according to police, in the middle of the night. So to me, hell, I guess they should be suspects, shouldn't they? I wonder if anybody's looked into that. A lot of people like this theory about, and like I said, I'm not shitting on nobody's theory, y'all. I'm just keeping it real. Until we know, who knows, that she put him outside as a punishment. My only thing with that is, and then what? He had to have went somewhere. The full day and weekend keeping very busy would overstimulate Sebastian, and he would have had a breakdown. Was this that way every weekend? See, I don't know. I wish I understood autism better. Would a full day with all they did that day, would that create a situation with Sebastian? I don't know. Katie could have had a jamming system that would render the video cameras inoperable. What if they were breaks in time? That's kind of out there, but you know, being an installer, I guess something like that would work. She might have known about it. I don't know about the jammers. I'm not familiar with that level. I know they make them of how those work. But, you know, I would think there'd be signs of that too. I agree thinking Sebastian was overstimulated, was having a breakdown and being difficult. I think Katie snapped, in my opinion. Could she have gave him too much sleep medication and forced him to sleep in the garage? It was 30 degrees that night. He could have been in distress when she went to wake him up. See, I don't know enough to know that the mattress in the garage thing was true. I know the neighbor said that. I would like to hear that addressed if they ever decide they want to squash some rumors. That'd be one I'd like to hear addressed. I've never heard that mentioned in the garage. Now, sure, I don't know. I'm surprised they didn't fit in a swim class, for crying out loud. Yeah, it was a busy day. Kay mentioned to CP about the thump while they were on the phone. That's another good question. We should save some of these, man. Try to invite them on. Criminals are now using jammers to steal cars more now. As nobody spoke on Chris being at Texas Roadhouse with KB and Sebastian the day before reported missing. Probably because they've never heard that. And it hasn't been verified. I agree, like a speech or a lecture more than a conversation. In my opinion, in my experience, you have to sit there and listen until they're done. Chris said there was a mattress in the garage that someone gave him on Nancy Grace. Oh, did he say that? So he admitted there was a mattress in the garage. I'm wondering though, what's next? Where we go from here? This, I guess, first thing is we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with the picture. It'd be nice, man, if that could. I wish that would gain a bunch of steam, like for that picture to go up and be like, look, it's very important we find out the identity of this person, and go nationwide, and then that way, if that person, whoever that person is, if it's not him, could call in and let us know, you know. But where they were traveling, that's what's so shitty about that. Like, this was a travel rest stop. It is hard to tell what their actual destination was. It'd be so hard. And I'm thinking that's going to cause them a lot of trouble unless they got a plate at the travel center. It's going to cause them a lot of trouble finding out who that was. We have people who travel the neighborhood with garage door openers to find which ones would open. Then they try other codes until they have the right signal. Wow. Why would you need another bed for your daughter if you had one already and she used it in December? Speaking of Nancy Grace, still don't see Whitney's family video. It's on the app. If you go to the app and download it, you can watch it. Don't get me started on that. Chris himself said he was with them the day before. When? How did I miss all this? I've never heard Chris say that. I've heard him say many a times he hadn't been in 3 weeks. When did he say he was with them the day before? I'm confused. Let's see. Let's go over some. You want to see a couple comments that was left on the video? Chris and Katie's hearsay against Sebastian is off the charts. They demean and belittle him, talk smack about him. He lies, blah, blah, blah. Likes to poo and pee in his pants. They are discussing. He's not around to defend himself against the loudmouths. Katie discussed me. As his mother, she needs to step away from Chrissy and open her mouth for something other than bashing Sebastian. Letting Chrissy, who wasn't even there, speak about what happened. Yes, you, Katie, he's your son. You were there, woman. I tell you, man, I really wish I knew. I could say 100 that what has come out was true or not. But all this that's being said about the Proudfoots, for the majority, and except what he's shown us himself, is allegedly. But if a lot of that is true, that is so wrong, and those should be punishable. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't like to push the negativity as much. I really want this kid found, man. I really hope we get some answers soon about the picture. You know, because if that ain't him, somebody has him, and he needs to be found. I mean, even if it is him, somebody has him. He needs to be found. The neighbor called CPS because Sebastian was forced to sleep in the garage because Chris was tired of smelling pee in the house. That's the thing about CPS. Unless you're a judge, you're never going to be able to. Well, I don't even know if a judge can see those. You're not going to see CPS records. Now, did the neighbor say that's why he did it? Yeah. Do we know? No. You know, that's why I almost regret making that video, because it is alleged, and I don't want to push something that ain't true. And I made it pretty clear, though. But this is one of them things to me too, man. I mean, what that neighbor's saying, if that's true, that seems like punishable offenses, some of that. You know? It needs to be looked into now. I'd love to know what's in the neighbor's heart, you know? Yes, the tater tots. Yes. See, and that's another thing. It's alleged, you know. That's why I can't base a lot on anything that's alleged. I have so much trouble with it. And what's really weird is, though, a lot of this seems to just line up with the narrative on him so perfect, you know. Many times a guilty person's behavior changes after a crime. Was it usual for KP to accompany CP on his jobs? That's what I wanted to get to. I thought about that, especially like when it comes to my theory. We all know we want to find out what happened to Sebastian, right? But look what has happened since Sebastian's been gone. According to them, no Chris for 3 weeks, right? Now she's staying with him 24/7, even at the job, apparently. So by Sebastian being gone, look what the end result is. Chris and Katie's back together most of the time now. So we know Sebastian's missing. Still don't know what happened to him, but we know what this resulted in. And it resulted in Katie getting to be with Chris. Thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate everybody for showing up for our morning show. It's been doing pretty good lately. We can keep going. And I don't know if we're going to keep with the structure like Newsday Tuesday or Weird Wednesday. I don't know if we're going to stick 100% with that. I'm going to go with whatever the latest interesting topic is, and see how it plays out. See how y'all like that. But we're going to keep our eyes all over the Sebastian case, though, because this is we got to find out what happened. Got to keep his face out there. Hopefully, it'll help in the end. Everybody have a great rest of your day. I know it's Monday. It's rough. Mine's going to get a lot better here in a minute. I'm thinking about a napping nap. And I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Thanks all the mods. Thank you, Burnt Dirt. Thank you, Messy Jesse. There's a new emoji for members that was a team effort over the weekend. Thanks to all the viewers, all the subs, and the rewatch crew. Everybody have a great rest of your day.